Hello, testing, testing. All right, we're good. All right, good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming to Parent Night for incoming freshmen. I'm Andrew Lane, the head principal, and I kind of contemplated what to talk to you guys about tonight. I think the biggest thing I want to go over, a little bit about myself, but then about what we have going on here at North Scott High School and the Regional Ovation Center. So I'm in my 18th year of education, 12 years as a teacher and a coach, and then this is my 6th year of administration, and my 2nd year here. A little bit about myself, and this leads into the opportunity, is I went to a small town called Pekin Packwood. Has anybody even heard of that, maybe? Small town 1A? Yeah, there it is. Pekin Panthers, there we go. It's between Ottumwa and Iowa, or Ottumwa and Fairfield, Iowa, southeast Iowa, 2 hours from here. And the reason I bring that up is I graduated in a class of 47, and I remember when I went to take elective classes, we had one shop teacher, but the shop teacher was also the FFA ag teacher and the auto shop teacher, so I had to take like one or the other. We had music programs, but that teacher was like one of the band, the choir, and the orchestra. So interestingly enough, I come to a high school, and the opportunity is much, much greater here. So my encouragement is, as you guys come in, you guys have freshmen sons or daughters, there is a program for literally everything that your son or daughter could be interested in. So high school starts, they need to take their core classes, but then they have a lot of elective opportunities. They have a really great fine arts program. The opportunity is there in about every career field, whether it's nursing, construction, you name it, we have a program for it. So I think without further ado, that's what we're here to inform you guys on, and it's our job and my administrative team's job and our counselors' job to make you aware of those opportunities and help your son or daughter get to the finish line here in 4 years. It will go by fast, and we're here to help serve you guys. So without further ado, I'm going to show you guys our mission, kind of hopefully summed up that a little bit, and then I'll go to my counseling team. So here's our mission at North Scott High School. I clicked it. I thought maybe Josh was doing that. That's me. And I'll also get a better picture. It's kind of funny. My first school picture, and Dan gets a laugh at it every time. We had to delete that thing. I got caught off guard, and my eyes are shocked. I actually look kind of scary. So I actually took a selfie here, and this is my picture for right now. And then here is what our vision is. Essentially, we want your son or daughter to achieve academic success, find the career that they want or college that they need to go to prepare for their career, and we're going to do it in a collaborative culture. So without further ado, here is my awesome counseling team. I'll let them introduce themselves.
Anastasia, and if your child's last name is A through G, I will be their counselor for the next 4 years.
Emily Jepson, last name's H through N.
And Tracy Denahy, last name's O through Z.
All right, I'll go ahead and begin talking to you guys about graduation requirements. I will assure you that we will talk about this tomorrow with them in 8th in their social studies classes. We will continue to go over it with the students when they're also in 9th grade. We're very excited to welcome the class of 2030 to the high school. Throughout the 4 years, us 3 counselors will go into the classrooms, work with the students to make sure that they're academically ready, take care of them social, emotionally, and also college and career readiness. But it is a team throughout those 4 years to get them to the graduation. We have a total of 54 credits that students need to have to graduate from North Scott High School. Every class each semester totals out to 1 credit. So as long as they have a passing grade of D- or above, they will earn that credit. Now there's specific ones that they need. So out of the 54, 32 are specific of English, math, science, social studies, PE or strength, health, and personal finance. But right now and then the other 22 will be the electives. But right now we're just going to focus on what is available to them their 9th grade year. So 9th grade for English, it'll be their Honors English or English 1. Later on, Mrs. Nick will talk about the Honors English application. Their options for math will be Algebra 1 or Honors Geometry. So if they're already in Honors Math in junior high, they'll go right into Honors Geometry. If they're in 8th grade math, they'll go right into Algebra. For science, you have biology or ag bio. So if you're interested in our ag science program, you will take ag bio for your biology credit your freshman year. And that will pair up with an elective as well. And I'll talk about that on the next slide. And then social studies, all 9th graders take U.S. history, so pretty simple that way. And then the other one will be 1 semester of health, and opposite of health will be 1 semester of PE or strength and performance. I believe most of all ninth graders will begin with strength and performance their ninth grade year. And especially if in your sport, you're also required to do strength and performance. And later on, Mr. Schroeder, our AD, will talk about early bird as well and how that works out. So I mentioned the 54 total credits, 32 are the specific ones in these areas, and then the other 22 are the elective options. Our elective options during your 9th and 10th grade year are a little limited because you need to get that basic, that intro class done before a lot more options open up your sophomore, junior, and your senior year. So for your 9th grade elective options, I mentioned that ag science department. You have intro to ag, food, and science that you can take. If you are taking ag bio, you will take that elective as well. They're paired together. For art, art attack, 2D art, 3D art. If you've already done junior high art, you can jump right into 2D or 3D art. Otherwise, you can still also take art attack too. Then for our business and kind of computer information solutions, we got a lot of options. Intro to business, and then intro to computers, programming, and logic as well. And then family and consumer sciences, you can start off on 2 different tracks, an intro to foods, and then there's also an intro to design. And then after the intro to foods, you can take advanced foods your freshman year. And once again, more will always open up your sophomore, junior, and senior year. The last of our elective options your freshman year are intro to health occupations. So if anyone's ever interested, possibly in the medical field, that's a great one to take. And then we have a really large industrial tech program, intro to built environment, which will be that first intro class that eventually could lead to the student built home program. We have our welding classes that are all college credit that will lead you to a welding certificate through EICC. So you can start off taking welding fundamentals, VR welding, and those that are paired up there, and then blueprint reading as well. If you're interested in music and fine arts, we have band, we have orchestra, and then we also have choir and jazz band, year-long classes. So those are a great opportunity for students to get involved in the fine arts. And then the final option is world language. We have 2, either Spanish or Chinese. So both great, but a lot of opportunities for kids to take a variety of classes that they can explore their interests or potential career fields. And like I said, more will always open up throughout their next few years. Now we'll let Mrs. Denahy jump on in.
So one of the reasons why we wanted to talk to you tonight is because tomorrow we're actually going to be going into the social studies classrooms in 8th grade and presenting all this information and start the process for students to look into the classes they want to take and bring those registration sheets home with you so that you can have a conversation, look over what we have to offer, and get any questions answered before we end up finalizing that a couple weeks later. So in social studies classes tomorrow, they'll receive their registration sheets. On their registration sheets will be their math recommendation based on the recommendations the math teachers gave us. And so they should bring these home and discuss this with you. You can reach out to us counselors with any questions you have. You can, if you have anyone that you know that's already at the high school, you know, people that have been students here also have lots of good information to tell you about the classes if you're curious about what they're like. But then we also have a lot of information on our website. There is a place for the students to sign it and the parents to sign it as well, and that way we know that those conversations have occurred. This is an example of what the registration sheet will look like. It will actually be on green paper, if I'm remembering correctly, and there at the bottom is a place for the student signature and the parent signature. We will go over this tomorrow to explain kind of how to fill out the sheet, because some classes that students sign up for are only going to be 1 semester in length, and some classes are going to be a full year in length. So just trying to help them understand how much room they have for all of these classes, we can help them map that out. And if you have any questions as you're going through that, if they bring it home and they're still unsure, feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to help out in any way that we can. So some resources as you're trying to determine what classes are of interest to you. We have on the North Scott website our course of study, which has links to all of the course options, their course descriptions, and the way that these courses flow together. So Ms. Jepson had showed you all of the elective options for 9th graders. that are introductory courses, and then the flowcharts on this website will allow you to see, okay, if I take Intro to Ag, for example, for freshman year, what classes can I take to follow up with that, and so on. We also have some academies that are offered at the Regional Innovation Center, and there's links to the information about those classes as well. Those courses aren't open until junior, senior year, however, but then you can at least get an idea of what to expect as students are planning about not just maybe next year, but thinking about what they want to do in the years to follow as well. So there's course sequences, there's graduation and college requirements in that link as well. The freshman transition guide is linked on there. And I also want to mention, I noticed some of you guys are taking pictures, and I love that you're doing that. Also, this is going to be available on the website after today. We're live streaming it, recording it. So that way, if you feel like we're going through this information or you have questions and want to go back, it's going to be available for you. This is an example of what the course flow charts look like. So you can see in here that it'll show you what classes students would start out with and what that opens up. And this is our Family and Consumer Science flow chart.
So if you're not already overwhelmed, let's overwhelm you some more. I know this is a lot of information, but tomorrow we will be going to the social studies classrooms. We're actually taking 4 of our senior student ambassadors as well, just so they can, sometimes kids feel more comfortable asking other kids like, hey, is Intro to Food's a fun class? Things like that. We will explain in detail what each of the elective kind of strands look like and go over some of the flowcharts, but they'll be able to come home, show you guys, and then hopefully have this conversation and you guys can look and decide what electives that your student will take. So tomorrow we'll go in and then we will go back on the 19th, which is in a couple Thursdays, I think. And we will go into the science classrooms. And at that time, they will bring those green sheets back and we will go through and put them into Infinite Campus. I believe Mr. Lane will be talking a little bit about the importance of making those choices. And so we will also bring other student ambassadors as well. So, and talk to the students about things outside of academics, like getting involved in things like theater, sports. We have a lot of service clubs, things like that. So we are also available if you are new to this process, or like if this is your first, or even if you have just some questions, please feel free to reach out to us. You can call us, you can email us. We're all on the website, and we would be more than happy to walk you through every step of the way, because I kind of understand it's kind of a scary process sometimes. So for those students that are looking into applying for the Honors English, the 8th grade English teachers will be presenting that to the 8th grade classes, and there will be an application process along with a writing sample and things like that. So we won't know, when we go back on the 19th, we won't know which students were selected for that. So we'll have everybody go ahead and select English, and then we can go back and manually and change that if your child is selected for Honors English. For those students with IEPs, individualized education plans, we will also be meeting with all the students. So please know that we will work with the case managers and make sure that we have a spring meeting before they come to the high school, so we can talk about things like transition and classes and accommodations and that kind of thing. So we'll be working with all the case managers during that time. So on a final note, we are going to have a step-up day. Usually that step-up day is right after Memorial Day. It's the last few days of school when the seniors are gone. And then we bring the 8th graders over for the morning and for lunch, because we've asked the 8th graders every year, like, what are you the most nervous about? And 9 times out of 10, they'll say lunch. Lunch is the scariest thing for them. So it's kind of cool because they'll be able to kind of go through and see what our lunchroom is like and have lunch. So we call that step-up day. So they'll get to meet some of the freshman teachers. They'll get to see what the hallways look like. I do know that our student ambassadors were kind of trying to make a video of our hallways, just to kind of show kids, because they get nervous. They get nervous about finding their locker and having lunch and those things. So they're working on a video for that as well. So again, going back to being able to reach us, my email happens to be the longest. Wow. Yeah. This is a funny story. I just have to share it. So a couple days ago, I overheard our secretary talking to somebody on the telephone. It's a parent, and she said, "I've got here's my email. It's really long. It's Carrie.Kuhn." And I walk out there. I was like, Carrie.Kuhn? Try Anastasia.Nicolopoulos. Are you kidding me? So she's like, "Yeah, you're right." So feel free to email us or call us at any time if you have any questions. All right. Mr. Lane is going to talk a little bit about course requests.
All right, real quick here, just back for 2 slides. How we schedule and how we staff for North Scott High School is we have course requests, and you guys obviously are in 8th grade coming into freshman year, and we already kind of mentioned you'll have 4 picked, your 4 cores. We have a first period class that runs 45 minutes, so like our band and orchestra could be during that time. But when you pick your requests next week with your counselors, make sure you have your educational goals in mind and a potential career path. I know as a 13 or 14-year-old, you probably have no idea what you want to do in 4 to 8 years, but sometimes people already have that established, and you guys have been maybe doing your Zillow career pathway finders, so you might have an idea what you like. So when the counselors are working with you the next couple weeks, take those very seriously, because what the students request, all students, 8th grade through 11th grade next year, drives our staffing. If we get a heavy need in a certain area, we potentially would need to hire a new teacher or a half a teacher, get creative with that. If there's a significant drop-off in requests in a certain area, then we look at how that could shuffle and impact. So take that very seriously. And one thing that hasn't been mentioned yet, and maybe your son has mentioned it or daughter has mentioned it, there's a hockey game next Thursday that they're going to in the morning, which is really cool that Mr. Jones sets that up. But then in the afternoon, this will be the second time we've done it out at the Regional Innovation Center. We have a career tech education, kind of like a recruitment day. So we have 6 career tech fields, construction, healthcare, ag, etc. And then we also have an art and Chinese rotation there, because there's going to be 8 different groups of kids. So they will get an idea. We know they need to take their 4 cores, but they'll have an idea of like, ooh, I really saw this program and I want to take those classes, whether it's family consumer science, computer science, etc. So they'll get an 8-minute presentation from those teachers or upperclassmen next Thursday, the 12th, out at the Regional Innovation Center too. So if they're like, I don't know what these classes are, they'll at least get a brief introduction from kids and staff next Thursday. And then once we get those requests, we have Mr. Marceau usually spends part of his spring break. I don't know if that's going to be the plan this year, but we did last year. We looked at placing the master schedule. We put things in place with the teachers we have, and we try to get equal class sizes. And then our counseling team and our admin team look at, hey, what are students missing? Maybe we accidentally, the Infinite Campus does our master schedule. We might have misplaced or missed a class, or had it, like if a kid took Algebra 1 as an 8th grader, we might have accidentally placed them again as a 9th grader. It happens from time to time, but we spend some time and make sure that is where it's at. Some kids maybe take all 9 classes and they maybe don't work at the fast enough pace, so they might have an inappropriate course load. So we might give them a study hall to help them maintain good grades their freshman year. So that's kind of our process on our end for course requests, but it starts with you guys, so make sure you take that process seriously. And without further ado, one of my assistant principals coming up here, Dan Marceau.
Yeah! All right. Good evening, everybody. All of the information you just received is all very important very soon. Okay? We're going to shift gears a little bit, talk about some things that might be lingering and things that you just want to be aware of, but aren't quite as time sensitive as all of the registration information you had. So if you are already overloaded, if this is already a lot of new information, you can kind of ignore what I have to say. It's important, but it's not important like just yet. So counselors are coming in to talk about registration. Students, as you guys are thinking about registration, one thing I want to draw attention to you is that we do run a different schedule than at the junior high. Okay, so the junior high, you have a 8 period day. How many is it? Who's a junior high kid that's living it right now? 8? It is 8? Okay, I wasn't sure. So we have an 8 period day where you have those classes every day. We run a 4-block schedule where you rotate your classes, 4 classes on A day, 4 classes on B days. So they are longer classes, gives you a little bit more time to get a little more in depth with the content, gives you more time between classes if there's work you need to complete. So just as you're scheduling, think about that as you're thinking about different classes. Is it does get a little bit more in depth. The rigor is a little bit more just as you progress through your academic career. So as you're looking at this, this is a sample, or this is our belt schedule. The next slide is a sample schedule that shows you what our schedule looks like here. So we have a first period, that 45 minutes. That's where we have band, we have orchestra, we have some college lab classes during that time. And then our traditional classes fall into that second, third, fourth, and fifth block, 80 minutes. And then we have our lunch and intervention time in the middle of the day. I'll talk about that in a couple slides. And then you still have all 4 of those classes on a Friday. It's just shortened time. So again, not something you have to worry about right now, but just good for you guys to know as some of you are trying to conceptualize what your schedule might look like. A sample schedule for a freshman is, again, you have your A and B days. So you could, as a band or orchestra student, those are guaranteed classes during first period, so you don't have to worry about, if I take band, does it mean I can't take something else? We dedicate that first period to those 2 instrumental music classes. And then, again, a sample schedule here is that you would have your English, a study hall, that intro to design, and algebra 1 on A day. So you'd have that like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The next day on that B day, you would still have band. That class would meet every day in that first period. But then your B day classes would be that intro to built, U.S. history, biology, and health. And those would be like on that week, a Tuesday, Thursday, and then it just continues to rotate. I know some classes at the junior high are on that A-B rotation, but all of our classes, with the exception of first period, are on that A-B rotation. So one thing that I do want to point out is I have this first period up here and this win time up here. And what that does is our student supports are really structured around those 2 pieces in particular. So for those of you that are at our North Scott Junior High right now, you have your boost system, okay, where you have a 3-week rotation where you're assigned to a teacher for those 3 weeks, and you have that dedicated time to focus on that course as kind of an additional support. We offer something very similar here. We call it WIN. Stands for What I Need, and that is very similar to that schedule. What we do is it's every 2 weeks instead of every 3, and we do rotate it on A and B days. Okay, so if I go back to this normal schedule, on that A day, this particular student has algebra, where they have that additional half hour of support with a small group in their algebra class every other day for 2 weeks. And then on the B day, they have that additional support or extension with their band teacher during that time. So every 2 weeks, those do rotate based on what it is the student needs with the teachers there. Okay? And then an additional support that we have is office hours. This is new to us this year, and this is during that first period, so that's 7:45 to 8:30. Now, unfortunately, if you are in a band or orchestra, you may not be able to attend those office hours. We still have other ways that you can meet with those teachers, but those office hours are intended for if you have makeup work or maybe a reassessment, or even a student just needs to come in early and just ask that one-on-one question with a teacher. It could be 5 minutes, it could be that entire 45 minutes, but we do offer that additional support there, and each day of the week is dedicated to a specific subject. So if you need help with English, you know that your English teacher is available on Tuesdays, so you can guarantee that you don't have any conflict on those Tuesdays that you could come in. Again, this is all good information for you to be aware of, start thinking about. There will be a lot more shared with you about it as we get closer. Okay, you're barely halfway through your 8th grade year. Start thinking about freshman year is a little bit daunting, but we do want this to just be out in front of you so you know that these are some things that we do have available to us. Another piece that we do have that is aligned with the junior high, so if you are at our junior high currently, this is not new information for you. If you are new to North Scott, this might be new to you. We do have standards-based grading here at the high school, with the exception of our college courses. Our college courses have to follow the same grading scheme as Eastern Iowa. That will still be shared with you, still be communicated with you, but it just doesn't follow the same exact criteria as what our internal classes do. So the purpose of standards-based grading is we want to communicate with accuracy so that everyone understands that the same level of learning means the same thing across all courses, and that we're communicating about learning, not the points that a student was able to obtain on a given assignment. So we've tried over the last couple years to really focus on separating our academic grades from those behavior scores. Those behavior scores are communicated out via the Lancer Way, just like they are at the junior high, so that those behavior scores don't impact the true academic learning that a student can show their teacher. So we do have levels of learning. Those are that 10, 9, 7.5, and 5 that are sophisticated, competent, developing, initial. And then if there is no evidence towards a standard, we do have a level of not learning, but of no evidence for that. The big thing that drives standards-based grading is it's all about feedback. Okay, it's all about communicating to the student and the caregiver where a student is at that given moment and what it is they need to do and improve upon. Okay, and that's a lot of what that win time and those office hours help provide for us, is it allows those teachers to have that verbal follow-up when necessary about, hey, you're almost there, you're close, this is what I still need to have you show me in a variety of ways. Evidence, that's basically everything that we collect. That could be daily work, it could be homework, it could be quizzes, it could be all sorts of different things, but it's everything that comes together that communicates what that standard score is. And those standards are the expectations we have. Okay, traditionally typically those are set by the state or even the national level. There are some content areas that are more area driven or more specific to that content, but those are the expectations that we hold our students to, and that's what we want to strive towards with our standards-based grading. At the end of each course that is standards-based grading, we take all of those individual standards, we average those together, we still do produce a letter grade and a percentage because so much of the grades that we report out on factor into a GPA and those types of things as you look at potential post-secondary options. So we're kind of trying to blend both of those as we want to communicate learning, but we do know that we have to eventually give a letter grade because that's what a lot of post-secondary, so this is us trying to kind of marry two imperfect systems together. So I did see a hand go up at one point. All of us will be available out in the lobby if you do have follow-up questions, or you can get a hold of us individually afterwards. So I don't want to dissuade any questions, but for time's sake, we'll try to save those for the lobby afterwards. And with that, I guess I get to introduce Mr. Schwartz.
Well, good evening, good evening. My name is Aaron Schwartz. I am an associate principal here, and, well, the source of many jokes. I think tonight's was we are doing admin from tallest to shortest. Yeah. So I'm the last one. That's the good news. I'm to the age where I don't keep track of how many years I've been in education anymore. I think this is my 24th year, my 19th year here at North Scott, and somewhere between 8 to 12 in administration. It was kind of a weird transition, but we won't get into that. So obviously you can see up here many of the hats that I wear. And things that you will hear from me on. Obviously, the top one there, unfortunately or fortunately, is the one that we will likely have the most interaction on to start with, and probably what I'll talk the most about here tonight. With that, I do want to say, obviously, the entire reason that we're all here is for you and for your student, to help them, to be a support for them, and do whatever it takes to help them be successful. So don't ever hesitate to reach out. Use that contact information should you need anything. It takes a village. We got to do it together. So let's start that journey tonight, I guess. So attendance, and again, I know you guys have had a lot of information thrown your way. I do just want to make sure we clarify a few things as you prepare to come to the high school that you're aware of, because again, I know with the law change a few years ago, there's been an adjustment period. Getting used to the state changes and what that means. So I want to just, like I said, be very clear on what you will see here at the high school. First and foremost, obviously, communication is key. If your student's not going to be here, we'd like to know. We try to provide multiple ways for you to do that, whether it's phone call, email. You can do that through Infinite Campus. But we do ask that you report those absences within 24 hours. Obviously, on a case-by-case basis, we will consider clearing them after that time frame, but obviously being prompt helps us to support you, support the teachers in what we're trying to accomplish here. So please try to do that in a timely manner. Kind of referenced the state law change a few years ago, the Iowa Code 299 there. And so when you go into Infinite Campus as a parent, as a student, you are going to see a couple different things. And I think the thing that most people focus on, and you will see this at the junior high, attendance is taken the same, it looks the same. And so when you go in, you see either a green attendance code or a red attendance code. And I want to talk about this because I think a majority of my questions and concerns come from people see a red attendance code and they associate red with negative. When we're talking the colors, the red versus the green, that is the state's view of things. The state views red as unexcused, which could mean I called my kid in sick. They're at home with a fever, they're coughing, they can't come to school. I've called them in and done every step that I should have. The state still views that as unexcused. That is why it is red. When we get to the high school level and look at those things, red is not negative when it comes to the school, okay? So when communication starts coming from me, whether it's accurate or inaccurate, and I know we make mistakes, so always reply to those emails if you have a problem, we're really looking at two red codes. Either a UN, an unexcused absence, which means we weren't given a reason or a justification for that absence, or a red T. Those are the two that you really need to be focused on and need to address should they come up. Those are the two things that are going to cause school consequences to come into play. Here at the high school, if you miss a class for an unexcused reason, that results in an hour-long detention. If you get a red T, a tardy, which means you are late to class but still within the first 10 minutes, you'll receive a 20-minute detention. Okay? Again, if you ever feel any of those are inaccurate, reach out to me. You'll have an email from me stating that. Just hit reply, and we'll look into it for you. Other than that, I think everything should be similar to what you see at the junior high. Looking at the state law, the green versus the red, we have the attendance process we have to follow with apps and those kind of things required by state. But again, for starters, let your focus just be on the two red codes, the UN and the T, as you come to high school, and we'll start there. Basically, don't panic, reach out, we'll get it figured out. The second thing, and not sure why this falls on me, but all freshmen are required by the state of Iowa to provide a dental screening prior to coming to the high school next year. If you've seen a dentist this school year, that counts. You can take the form to them, have them fill it out and sign it, and bring it to either the junior high nurse currently, or you can turn that into the high school nurse if it comes summer. We would like to have those in hand prior to the school year beginning so that we can get those documented with the state, because again, it is a state requirement. But again, if you've had a dental screening within a year prior to enrollment here at the high school, that counts. You do not need to go out and have another one at that point. We do have a deadline with the state, first semester next year. If we do not have a dental screening, your student will be pulled in and given a dental screening here at the school. So try to get that taken care of for us if you can. With that, I will also add immunization records. Would be a good time to turn those in as well. So with that, I'm short. I kept it short. I'm going to turn it over to the pseudo Mr. Schroeder, a.k.a. Mr. Lane.
Well done, good sir. All right, I'm filling in for Jason Schroeder tonight. He actually said he was busy, but I actually think it's 86 days away from softball season, May 1st. He probably turned the lights on and did a inaugural raking of the infield. So that's probably what he's doing right now, riding the tractor out at the softball field. But Jason's our AD. We kind of joke with him. He's kind of the event manager, too. He takes care of all the facilities in the district. He does a great job for us, and those are the things he's responsible for. Some of the big things that we want to discuss, or he would want to discuss as a practices, if your kids are in athletics or any extracurriculars, they're usually right after school. Occasionally there might be some morning practices, but we try to keep our freshman stuff after school. Be looking for the camps either in the newsletter or his memo about summer camps. Those are coming up, whether it's soccer, football, baseball. We have a lot of camps on there. Everything will be on Bound, and the link is on there at gobound.com. So if your kid is going to participate in an extracurricular, log into there and get them in on that. So that's about that on that page. Some requirements when you go to sign up for that, make sure you register on Bound, and then when you register your son or daughter for freshman year, make sure you go through the handbook. The handbook can get a little lengthy. We're going over that. A committee right now is going over some of the policies within there, but make sure you really read through there. There's some times where we'll do something, and then a parent will call and goes, I didn't know about that. And I was like, well, you registered on Bound and you registered with us, so spend a little bit of time. I know I have a parent. I have a 6 and a 4-year-old, and I kind of skimmed through my 6-year-old's first grade registration this year, so I'll vow to do better too. But there are some things in there that are important. So when you register, make sure you look through those links on there. Strength and conditioning, we are very blessed at North Scott High to have probably, and we're biased towards Mr. Stewart and Mr. Kelly and Mrs. Hammond, but we have a really good strength and conditioning team. I'd say it's probably one of the best in the state. We continuously produce really good athletes. So if your student is going to be, your son or daughter is going to be in a sport, it is encouraged to do a lot of lifting. The bigger, faster, stronger athlete usually does better. So we start lifting. We'll encourage it year-round. We have it as one of your PE credits. There are forms to fill if you want to do it for early bird and or for a second credit. It says one per semester there. Depending what caps are, you can fill that form out and maybe get a second one. Or there's always early bird open. And you'll be getting stuff from the junior high strength PE guys and Coach Stewart about summer lifting program. If they're involved in a sport, they'll have the opportunity. I think there's 15 days in June. They take a break around the July 4th weekend, and then they have like 15 days in July. We do have a dead week at the end of July, but I think they have a total of like 27 days that they work out in the morning. So strongly encourage your incoming athlete to do that. And they're flexible. If you guys go on a vacation, there was a couple kids that worried, hey, I want to miss my family vacation, so I make sure I hit my 2 days of lifting. Go on your family vacation. We can make arrangements, or just our coaches are flexible there too. Jason has some stuff on college-bound interest stuff. It's just NCAA stuff. I'm just, like one of the counselors said, this will all go on the website. These links in this presentation will be posted. This stuff is kind of ways down the road, but it's good information to have, so that'll be on the link. I won't go into too much detail there. Kind of clicking if you're curious, look at those. And then same thing goes to here. We have, and there's a code of conduct that's in the registration form too, but this one is more about, I believe, I tried to click on the link and it's down right now, but I believe this is the state's code. The kids can't fail a class, otherwise they have a 20-day period that they have to sit out. So if they have their classes first semester and they happen to fail one of them, actually June 20th, whatever the start of the new semester, they'd have to sit 20 days in their next sport. If they're in basketball or wrestling or bowling or swimming, they'd have to sit right away. If they're in track, they'd have to sit the first 20 days of track. So that's the scholarship rule. This one would be important for you guys. Driver's ed, there's some options for driver's ed there. And we actually sign almost one of these a day now type of thing. When your student, son or daughter, goes to get their school permit, if that's what you guys choose to do, make sure they have that 6 months of instructional practice. You get an instructional permit, you drive with them. Then they can be, once they get that, they get the age limit and they get those 6 months in. And they have their driver's ed, then we sign that, but you make sure you fill out that form. So they fill out that form online, they bring it to us, we basically sign it and say, hey, they're good to go to get their school permit, and then you go to the DMV to get your license. A lot of times we get some calls and say, oh, we didn't know. They show up at the DMV, they wait like a half an hour to meet with somebody, and then they say, oh, we don't have the school administrator's signature. So make sure you do the form, bring it to our office, and then go to the DMV to get your license on that. So Jason takes care of most of that, but we are able to sign on that one. And I got one other person I want to go over, but then here are some ways to stay connected. We try to communicate really, really well. We understand that social media isn't always the best answer, but it is a really good way to stay connected. So here are all the ways you can get information. We actually just purchased as a district, it's called Parent Square. So my vision, or Michelle Skadal's vision, probably will be this will all be lumped into one spot, so you don't have to go to 10 different places to find information about things that hopefully is all in the parent square, but we're working on that as a district right now too. So there's some pictures from North Scott High School. We're very prideful in what we do, very passionate about serving your kids and getting them to the finish line and enjoying their time here, keeping them safe emotionally, physically, getting them the skills they need in the real world. And one of the people that also help us do that, and I really like working with them, I'm in my, oh, it's not on there. Did you guys take that off? There was a slide for Officer Johns. I was going to talk a little bit about Officer Johns. I'm in my 6th year of administration. I've had 4 different school resource officers. Officer Johns, I would say he's our best one. I had a really good one at Cardinal. His name was Chris Shattuck, but he's slightly better than Chris. And I say that because he is educator first and officer second. We have situations where we need to work with him if a kid made a poor choice, but he is always the first to say, hey, let's get educated about the decision we made or the behavior that we just experienced, and how can you learn from this? And we will avoid citing or giving legal issues to your son or daughter if they make a bad choice, and he is really good about that. He also works with Mr. Schwartz on keeping our schools safe. We talk about entry points and all those things and making sure, and he also is very heavily involved in elementary. He does the DARE program. He works with our upperclassmen, and he gets DARE advocates. So Officer Johns is one of the awesome things about high school as well, that he can ensure our safety, and he's awesome to work with too for our kids. So that basically concludes our presentation for tonight. This, like I said, will be posted on the website, the recording and the link. We'll have some people stick around to ask some questions out in the lobby area. So thank you for coming out, and you guys have a great night.